Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Parashat Korach. The main topic of Parashat Korach is a situation of dispute. The Mishnah in Masechet Avot speaks about different kinds of dispute. If it's L'Shem Shamayim or not L'Shem Shamayim, if it's going to be eternal or not be eternal. There we see that the dispute between Bet Hillel and Bet Shammai is looked at very favorably. That's something that's eternal. On the other hand, Machloket Korach v'Adato is something that's very negative. It's not L'Shem Shamayim. They just fighting. Each one's got his personal interest. It looks bad. But what do we do if, God forbid, we've got some kind of conflict, some kind of dispute inside the house? How are we going to deal with it? How are we going to go over it? On one hand, typically people think that when they've got a certain point of view, they think that that's true, and they fight in, you would say, L'Shem Shamayim. On the other hand, the worst thing that could happen is that it becomes eternal, that it's Sofa Litkayem. No, we don't want. We want the Machloket to come to an end. What do we do about it? First of all, we learn from the Mishnah. The Mishnah brings an example. The Machloket Sofa Litkayem, that's eternal, that's good. It's Machloket Hillel v'Shammai. Hillel v'Shammai, on one hand, the Machloket is Sofa Litkayem. It's something eternal. People continue learning forever, years and years and years. Probably every year you'll discover that there are more and more people learning about the Machlokot of Bet Hillel and Bet Shammai. On the other hand, there's also a clear verdict. The clear verdict is, in most cases, like Bet Hillel. Why is halacha according to Bet Hillel? Because Bet Hillel put Bet Shammai in front of them. They first of all listened very carefully to what Bet Shammai have to say. Whenever we've got any kind of dispute, any kind of argument, the main thing is to listen clearly to the other side. Listen, not sometimes people listen, and the whole time when they're listening, they just want to get back, they want to respond, they thinking, what are we going to answer? No, listen carefully, try and understand them. Try and feel them. That's way more than understanding them. Understanding is one thing, it's logic. Logic is okay, but in a relationship, if it's a very logical relationship, it's going to die out fast. Okay, the relationship needs to have a love, needs to have feeling. So we say that you need to listen so that you can understand, but more than that, so that you can feel the other side. When you feel the other side, when you sense where they're coming from, then it's normally easier to feel, to find some kind of solution. So that's the first thing. And then that inevitably we see in the Mishnah that makes Bet Hillel's opinion be the one that eventually we're going to, that's the verdict, the Psak Din is going to be according to them. But in this week's parasha, we learn something else from Moshe Rabbeinu. Because the machloket that the Mishnah brings here, that en sofa litkayem, that's another positive one between Korach ve'adato, between Korach and the other people with him. Who are the other people with him? Datan ve'Aviram, and On ben Pelet from Reuven. They obviously, it wouldn't help them if Korach now became the leader. They from the tribe of Reuven. They want leadership to come to Reuven, and then there's 250 Nesim. They all together, they want something else altogether. They want to do Avodat HaKodesh. They want to be like Kohanim. They won't benefit out of Korach or Bnei Reuven gaining anything. And we'd hardly hear about that machloket. No one speaks about it. Why? It's not important. Different people, different interests, not interesting. But Moshe Rabbeinu, although they all arguing with him, he doesn't feature in the Mishnah. He's not part of that. Why is he not part of that? Because Moshe Rabbeinu, the Torah tells us in Pasuk Yud Bet, Veishlach Moshe likro ledatan ve'le'aviram bnei Eliav. Moshe sends to call them. Although he knows he's backed by God. He knows that he's actually the L'Shem Shamayim here. But Rashi says, what do we learn from that? Veishlach Moshe. Mikan. From here we learn, she'en machzikin b'machloket. You don't hold on to a dispute. You try and avoid it. You try and bring it to an end. Okay? She'aya Moshe mechazer acharehem le'ashlimam b'divrei shalom. Moshe Rabbeinu was running after them. He wanted to bring peace. That's the goal. When the goal is to bring peace and harmony and love, ahava ve'achva ve'shalom ve'reut. That's the goal. And now we have a different opinion of how to bring that, how to create it, what are the factors along the way there. And therefore, when the other side has something to say, when our spouse has something to say, we listen carefully. We want to understand them. We want to sense them. We want to feel them. In a situation like that, then we'll be able to avoid, Be'ezrat Hashem, avoid the dispute, avoid the conflict, avoid the arguments, and build a happy life afterwards. So everyone have a Shabbat, Shalom, a lot of Shalom all over the place.